Gonna get this one underway, see how well all these Group 1 cars get through Group 1 and get through those S's. Like you mentioned, Papa, it's gonna be a few laps before they start catching those Group 3 cars. They're gonna have some time to just kind of turn in some laps. Let's see,
Yeah.
if they're gonna pull a gap between each other or not. And there we go. We are green, green, green. Off we go, headed down the front stretch towards that tricky turn 1 as we watch Florno to get just a little bit on the brakes. Almost goes through it full throttle, big lift, but then goes flying through there. Has a little bit of a gap to Wid, but Wid, starts to close it as they get through that first right-hander. Now they're entering the S's. And here they go, just really smooth through there. The Group 1 cars with so much grip can just fly through those S's really with no problem at all. But that last corner there, that where they have that hill, that's the one to really look out for. And here's the bottom of the turkey leg that we were talking about. Got to carry some speed through here. There's a little bit of a possible passing zone there, but you got to hit it just right if you're going to be able to do that. Looks like Flornota's getting a little bit of a gap to Wid. Surprise there. Back in, looks like 3rd, 4th, 5th, we got them all bunched up.
I can't
Papa, what are they looking at as far as tire strats?
I was just going to say, all of the GT1 cars just are on racing mediums. Nobody started on the softs. For the Group 3 cars, we have Jorge is on the softs and Cornbread. So first and last in the Group 3 car are on the softs. Everybody else on the track is on racing mediums to start this race.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, it's going to be...
It looked like back there as they were finishing up the lap, we had like 4th and 5th were going side by side. Let me see, it looks like they've ended up with Sheldologist there running in 4th right now. The Truth Serum right behind in P5. Looks like they've all got a little bit of a gap. Only about a second separates everybody, so there's still slipstream available to most of these drivers. Sheldologist is a little far behind B Pabst in order to sniff at that slipstream, but the Truth Serum for sure has it. These Group 1 cars, the slipstream is quite effective. There's a lot of closing speed to be had as these things start getting up to speed because they're so downforce dependent. We're on board with Miss Covington. Right? Go ahead, Papa.
No, I was agreeing with you. Those GT1s, they're, like I said, you need to be in the throttle if you want that thing to turn with the downforce.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Talon harassing Miss Covington here, keeping it nice and tight, less than a third of a second behind. Again, the dirty air, something you got to look out for again in this turn 1. You want to carry a whole bunch of speed, but that front end washes out. You get into the grass, it's a long ways to get back on.
Yeah.
All right, if we check in with our Group 3 class, we've got Oak here leading the field. Or no, Jorge's up leading the field, but he's got a 2.5 second gap to Oak here in P9. Mr. K. Naranjo hovercraft right behind, though. Sector 7 Racing only a half second off. Kind of being a pest there, trying to keep it in the slipstream range. We haven't seen a lot of battles on track yet. We just saw that first lap. A little bit of side-by-side as we got to the end of the first lap, but after that, they seem to have kind of gone single file from here on out. Got Drobo back here in P11. Mr. Racing not too far behind, only a second.
Down in the chat, we've got Fernando Button. He says he's raced this track twice in real life in the late 80s. What are some of your insights, Fernando, about how the track is run and some things that might be different between real-life racing and sim racing?
Oh, here we go. We've got some side-by-side with Cornbread trying to make a move on Nuke here. Looks like he gets the move done heading into the chicane. Bold move to be had there. Good passing zone, though. Made sure to have that slipstream all the way through.
Yeah, those grippier tires probably helped them there for Cornbread, being on those softs.
Yes, there you go. Absolutely. I do like Nuke's livery here. Instead of having the gears over the tires, he's got like those saw blades. That's a really cool look.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here they go. Cornbread just trying to get a little bit of a gap to Nuke there, just trying to stay with him. Looks like he is still within a half second. and currently on a personal best for this lap.
Yeah, if Nuke can hang on to Cornbread and use that draft, that'll definitely help him in the long run. Basically letting Cornbread use his softs up and maintaining the speed of the lap.
And we go up and we check in with Oak here. Still running in P9. Looks like Jorge is really running away with it here in the GT3 class. He's got a 4.5 second gap over Oak, who still has hovercraft well in tow. As we finish up lap 4 here.
Yeah, remember,
GT1 cars are
Jorge's the other one that started on the racing soft, so that could explain a little bit why he's pulling away.
Yep, we certainly have seen him pull away from the field in the past. Likes to lay down that raw speed and just run some time trial laps. He'll switch over to that softer compound, and we'll see if the likes of Oak can start to rein him in once we get to that point. But until then, he's just putting down some time here. The Group 1 cars are starting to get caught up. Looks like the Group 3s are just exiting. Most of them are exiting the S's, whereas the Group 1 cars are entering the S's, so it's not going to be much longer before we're going to start seeing that speed difference and a lot of passing taking place.
And down there in the chat, Fernando basically iterated that it's what we in the enthusiast community like to call the old butt dyno, and how it really matters here in a place like Road Atlanta. Unfortunately, that's something you don't get in sim racing. That's one of the disconnects that we unfortunately have to deal with.
Good insight. I've never been to Road Atlanta myself, so it would be a fun track to visit for sure. Here we go. We see Florinoda leaning us off still with the second lead over Wid.
Closing in on the Group 3s really quick.
Yep, finishing up lap 6, and the Group 3s are on the front stretch. He's probably gonna be catching them just as they get to the S's, which is probably the exact wrong time. We're gonna see just how patient some of these Group 1 drivers can be. And there they are. There's the back of the Group 3 field, and there we are, right at the S's. So going to try to get through here, see if he can either thread the needle or just kind of tuck in behind. Looks like he is going to try to go for a pass as we get into the final corner. Slows both of them down. That allowed Wid to look less than 0.2 of a second, right up on his bumper. I mean, that's navigating the lap traffic. Florinoda did the right thing and was patient for quite a bit, but Wid was able to just follow him right there. And then now on the long stretch, we got 3 Group 1 cars, 1, 2, 3. Those Group 1s are going to go just flying right by him. Tuck into that slipstream, see if they can grab a little bit off the Group 1 cars, but now as they enter the chicane, Florinoda still has a decent enough lead. Holding off Wid for now, catching up to Hovercraft. Gonna put Hovercraft a lap down. And then Wid, gets caught out, goes off into the grass to get around Hovercraft. That was a tough one. Wid was on the outside as they were going through that corner. And I don't know if Hovercraft didn't see him coming, but ran it really wide there. Wid able to take the evasive action and maintain control of the car. And now Wid is stuck behind Oak here as we get through the S's, allowing Florinoda to get that gap back that he lost on the previous lap. All right, we're going to have the replay here of that pass that Wid was making on Hovercraft here. You can see as he approaches, just goes to the outside. Hovercraft continues to float it on by. That could have been bad. That could have been bad.
Yeah, it's definitely very hard in any of these cars, but most especially in these Group 1 cars. You taste a little bit of that grass, then you're usually going to end up going sideways. So kudos to him for being able to keep the car in a straight line and make that pass.
And for Florinoda, he put in a great qualifying time. So we know he's fast, but honestly, Wid would be the last person I would want chasing me down right now. And right behind him, you have B. Paps, who showed all of just a stacked field of talented drivers.
Yeah, and even behind Sheldologist, I mean, DeTruth also a crazy fast driver. So
mixed.
There's really nowhere for anybody to relax in this field, both in Group 1 and Group 3. So Here they go, getting again through the field. It looks like they caught them right at the end of the S's, which helped out. Miss Covington here on a bit of an island, along with Talon, not having to worry about the cars around them. And we are about 10 minutes in to this 60-minute race. We got 50 minutes left to go. So a lot of early action in the first part of this race. Jorge with a 9-second lead after only 8 laps, but has Miss Covington coming up on him here, getting through the chicane. Miss Covington should be able to put them a lap down. Yep, goes to the inside, easy pass. The nice thing about having all that grip is that as you come into this final corner, the Group 1s can drive around the Group 3 cars. The Group 3s, I mean, if you keep it pinned, there really only is one line. I mean, you need to do the outside, inside, outside, and you pretty much use the whole track. Same thing with turn 1. You know, those guys, the Group 1 cars need to remember that there's sometimes where the Group 3s are not going to be able to get out of the way, and they're not supposed to get out of the way. They're supposed to maintain a predictable racing line.
Right, and it's the faster car's job to make a safe pass.
Exactly. And that's where the S's get so tricky because, I mean, the racing line is basically to keep blocking the road. I mean, you go side to side. I mean, yeah, that gets tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we're watching Oak here as he gets onto the long straightaway. There's a 1.3 or 1.25 second lead over Hovercraft. So Hovercraft's just got a little bit of a sniff at that slipstream, but probably not going to help him out much. It looks like he is closing the gap just slightly. As we check in with Drobo here, currently running in P12, chasing down Mr. Racing. Cornbread behind, as we mentioned earlier, Cornbread on the racing softs, trying to get caught up in this field. So has the tire advantage over Drobo and is currently within a second.
Yeah, honestly, I expected Cornbread to make some moves early, being on those softs, but since the start of the race, he's only gained 1 position over me.
It may be a matter of just getting into the flow of things. Again, this being a long race, we're approaching the quarter mark. We're 12 and a half minutes into a 60-minute race, so plenty of time to get things straightened out.
And I'm guessing the 2 drivers in the Group 3 cars that are on the softs, they're probably going to have to pit. I'm going to say probably somewhere between lap 18 and lap 20 to get those mediums put on.
Okay. Yeah, we see Sheldo here running the racing mediums. Doesn't look like there's much wear on that tire at all. 13 minutes into this race, so it's going to be able to go well over halfway on the tires. The fuel is less than, or has used up a little over a quarter tank of fuel at this point. So it looks like they will probably run out of fuel before they run out of tire.
Usa King's talking about that he's at a big drag racing event in Kentucky. Busa, if you can still hear us, let us know what event you're at.
These guys are doing a drag race down the backstretch here. A big long section of track before they hit that heavy braking zone for the chicane. Pete Pap's working his way up to the start-finish line with Sheldologist in tow. Looks like these guys are running a nice, courteous race. Not a lot of challenges for position at this point, other than passing the Group 3 cars, of course. And you can see they're avoiding that right-hand curb. It is certainly faster to go around this track by eating that curb up, but it can unsettle the cars, especially the Group 1s that are, lower to the ground, stiffer suspension. Got to be careful not to slide that rear end and go off into the grass, because that's another area where if you get off track, it can take you a little bit to get back on. Sector 7 Wid, maintaining that gap, staying within slipstream with Florinota.
Yeah, I've been watching these two the last couple of laps, and Florinota seems to be really good through sector one. Coming up through the S's there. But Wade gets really good drive down at the bottom of that turkey leg, those two turns, coming onto that back stretch. He's able to close back in on him there. But it all seems to balance out right about the end of the lap. Stay right about that 9/10 to a second gap between the two.
There you go. We saw Florinota eat up that curb a little bit as he's approaching lap traffic again. Let's stay on board with him, see how he navigates this. Catches these guys right at the right time. Now that we're on this short straightaway, easily gets by Newton. He's going to get to Drobo and past him just in the braking zone. No problem there. But Wids appears to have caught them exactly at the wrong time. Has to get that pass done on Nuke at the bottom of the turkey leg. It was a good pass. Then had to stay tucked in behind Drobo as they got onto the straightaway. You can see that gap. It was, at about a second. It's now a second and a half.
Yeah.
Florinota going to pass and get around Mr. Racing before the braking zone, so timed that perfectly. Still has a gap of about 1.4 seconds. Looks like Florinota on this last lap got pretty lucky catching the cars just at the right time. Unfortunately, Wid not so lucky. Oh, almost got in the back of Oak there.
Yeah, Oak has actually gotten, Hovercraft has actually gotten past Oak here in the last lap. And Oak was, he was sliding pretty good coming from turn one there. But having a little handling issue.
Yeah, it looked like as Florinota was trying to get around outside and had to take evasive action not to get into the back of him. Might have touched him just a tad, but bit of a Code Brown moment there.
Code Brown.
We've all definitely had some of those. I always bring it up, racing in VR, everything's just much more intense. You think it looks close here on what I always call the broadcast view, but if you're down in VR or even in bumper cam, everything just looks haywire and crazy. If you're any kind of experienced in VR, you know what I'm talking about.
Looks like he Paps there and picked up a 1 second penalty somewhere along the way and is now back in P7. So in last place in the Group 1 pack, he was running in what? I think it was in third position, was he not?
Third or fourth, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. He was in third. He was behind Wid.
So yeah, something big must have happened that's put Paps quite a ways back.
Yeah.
We're about 17 and a half minutes into this race. Plenty of time to make that up. 1.8 seconds off of P6. Jorge here.
Yeah.
Halfway through lap 14 with a 14.6 second lead over Hovercraft. Florinota puts him another lap down.
Yeah, Jorge's only got a few more laps on these tires, though.
Yeah, that's true. He is probably feeling it at this point.
Yeah, where Hovercraft behind him, he can probably go another 10 laps before he's got a pit at least.
All right, so let's think about this. If we do the math, we're coming up to the 20-minute mark. And at about the 20-minute mark, it looks like he'll have gone through a half a tank of fuel. So that means they're going to need about 1.5 tanks of fuel to make this work. That means possibly he could fill up the mediums or put the mediums on, fill the tank all the way up. That could take him all the way to the end. This could be a one-stop race.
Yeah, I agree.
Hovercraft kind of maintaining that gap. Looks like the lead hasn't continued to go up, which again, as we were talking about, Jorge is probably starting to feel the effects of those tires pretty good by now. The racing softs might be on par with the racing mediums at this point in the race.
Yeah, it's true.
And Oak not losing ground to Hovercraft, staying attached to him. Maybe able to save a little bit of fuel running in his slipstream. Let's check in with our leader, and now might be a good time for do the crank it up. We're going to listen to these engines scream for a little while. there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed that crank it up session. Once we got it cranked up, of course. We saw while we were away that Jorge hit the pits, as we expected, right around that 20-minute mark. We checked in with Jorge. It looks like he still only has half a tank of fuel, running another stint on the racing softs. So did not switch to the racing mediums. Papa, can you remind us, are racing mediums required, or are the racing mediums and racing softs just allowed?
Nope, racing softs and racing mediums are required.
All right, so Jorge looking at a 2-stop strat. We have seen him do this before, where he puts in an extra pit stop but still runs away from the field. He's going to have more time on the racing softs for sure, doing it this way, and we'll just run a 20-minute stint probably on the racing mediums, unless he can make the tires and fuel last a little bit longer. Maybe he only has to do 15 minutes on the racing mediums.
Now, Cornbread did pit as well, and went to the racing mediums, but he also took no.
Saw a bit of a bump there from Jorge. Yeah, a little contact coming out of the S's. But yeah, Papa, as you were mentioning, Cornbread does switch over to the racing mediums, but did not fill up the fuel tank. So he will likely have to pit again unless he does some extreme fuel saving. Has just a little less than 50% left. So you watch B Pabst go around through the S's. Well done. All right, let's just run through the whole grid and see where everybody's at. We'll start off with Wid, who got around Florinata there at some point and is now leading this race with 1 second lead. Florinata back in P2, but with a healthy 6.7 second lead over PHG Sheldologist, currently running in P3 on a bit of an island. You can see him getting around some lap traffic there. P4, we got Miss Covington, who appears to be coming to the pits. Going to get off of those racing mediums. P5 is Talon, followed closely by S7R's The Truth Serum, who was in P6, now promoted to P5 after Mist went into the pits. And then B Pabst is bringing up the rear of the Group 1 field. Has lost quite a bit of time to The Truth Serum. Had been hanging with the rest of the group, was running in P3 early on in this race, and appears to have had some trouble. All right, so P1 in the Group 3 class currently is Hovercraft, due to the fact that Jorge has taken a pit already. But in P9 right behind still has Oak following him. These two have been racing together quite tight. And we had almost 3 wide heading into the chicane with Wid and Florinota getting around Oak. They both got around before the chicane.
Oh, somebody got squirrely out there. It's like it was Oak.
Yep, Oak's dropped back a little bit. Did we catch a replay of that one? Let's see here. So they're coming to the chicane. There we watch the Group 1s get around as it comes out of the chicane. Heading up the hill. Oh, yep, it's a little bit sideways. Kept it pointed straight for the most part. But probably lost a couple tenths getting through that last sector there. But all right, so we've got Oak currently running P2 in the Group 3 class. And there's Jorge, 2.4 seconds back after having pitted, still sitting in P3. Running on the softs, may end up pitting around the same time as those medium runners. And then S7R's Mr. Racing, currently running in P4 in the Group 3 class. Followed by Drobo in P5. S7R's Nuke in P6. And Cornbread back in P7. Man, Cornbread really had a chance to do the one-stopper here and maybe save some time in the pits, having switched to the racing mediums had he filled up the tank, but he didn't fill up the tank. Is that a mistake, Papa? What do you think?
I'm not sure it is, because obviously he's going to have to pit again. I would assume he's going to go back onto the racing softs and only take about half a tank of fuel.
That would make sense. And that way he's running more of the race on a lower tank of fuel. I hadn't thought of that.
Right. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But that's going to be my guess. When he pits again, he'll come back out on the softs, do his second stint. Where I think everybody else is looking at the one stop, Hovercraft and Oak and Mr. Racing.
Yeah, anybody that stayed out longer than the 20 minutes, look, I would guess they are going to be running all the way to the 40-minute mark, run the tank and the tires all the way down,
Right.
and then just do one stint on the softs. I mean, saving a lot of time in the pits, certainly helps, but they're going to lose time on the track, not running. Essentially, they're going to have 20 minutes where they're running on softs, whereas these guys that are doing the two stops are running, they're running on mediums when the other guys are running on softs. I don't know, 20 minutes? Is that going to be enough time to make up the pit stop?
I don't know.
I mean, this is why we watch the race. We'll see
Right.
how it all
Right.
So just an update on Mixed Covington during his pit where we're going through the field. He did come in, change his racing mediums to racing softs, but he also took no fuel.
Okay, so that's going to be another two-stop runner. Got the mediums out of the way first, and we'll probably be running softs all the way to the end. Interesting.
He is currently, because of that pit, he is almost 14 seconds behind the next position ahead of him. He's running last in the GT1 class right now.
Okay. Yeah, almost 14 seconds behind B-Paps. And B-Paps was quite a ways behind the Truth Serum as well. So these guys certainly have some ground to make up, but we do know Miss Covington is a fast driver.
Yes.
So they will likely make up some time. In fact, they've got the gap to B-Paps getting down to the low 13 seconds already, coming up on some lap traffic. Gets 2 passes done before the chicane. Should now get around Hovercraft pretty easily coming through the final set of corners. In fact, before he even gets to the final corner. Jorge right on the back of Oak is caught back up. Fresh set of softs, low fuel, putting in some decent lap times for sure.
Oak looked like he went wide a little bit.
Oh,
no,
and
he ground.
Oak loses it. Oak, I think, was a little upset. You saw him flashing the lights at Jorge. Let's watch this here as he gets through. I couldn't tell if there was a little bit of a tap. Oak went wide. And we could see if we look back at him.
I don't think there was contact.
I think we might have another angle of this here.
Get on through. Nope, doesn't look like there's any contact. Oak just trying to keep it on. And then, into the grass as he hit the brakes and sent the rear end around. Probably a little bit of frustration there in losing the position. May have caused him to have yet another issue.
I mean, we know Oak too. That could have been a good pass. Flash.
Yeah, and we all know too with these Porsches, with it, this is the newer Porsche, I believe, and with it being, rear-engined, yes, it is stable in the corners until it's not. You lift off at the wrong time, and that tail end is going to send you sideways.
Well, it looked like we might have had another really close racing there heading into turn 1. Jorge getting around Hovercraft. As they approached turn 1, it looked like they got really close. Let's check in with that again. They're going to come down the front stretch. Gets the run here. As they come in, if there was contact, it was just barely. Everybody kept it straight. Jorge drives on by.
Well,
there we go. Jorge back into the lead.
Yep.
Even though he has taken a pit stop. So, incredible driving.
While we were watching
Jorge.
all that, Talon was in and out of the pits, came in on his mediums, came back out on the softs, and he took about a quarter tank of fuel. Florinata is in the pits now as we speak.
Yep. Well, we are past the halfway point.
Yep.
It may be that the Group 1 cars, if maybe they're only going to use 1 1/4 tank of fuel.
Yep.
And he doesn't have to fuel it all the way up. Florinata just coming out of the pits did the same thing. Yep. Came out on racing softs, 3/4 of a tank. probably set to go. If we've seen two drivers fill up to that same amount at the same time, pretty safe bet that's the right amount of fuel to take.
Yeah.
Now that he's back in P6, he's got a lot of clean air around him. You know, Miss Covington is 13.6 seconds ahead, and Talon is 8.5 seconds behind. So Florinota can just put in some time trial laps at this point. Miss Covington currently has the fastest lap, the 107.042.
Yeah, I don't know.
Certainly a quick driver. But, I mean, Wid is also quick and has not gotten off of the racing mediums yet. So I'll be interested to see if they can surpass that time once they make their way onto the soft tire.
Yeah, right. I'll be interested to see if those soft tires last, you know, for another 28 minutes.
Yeah, that might be a tall order.
Yeah. You're talking another 25 laps on softs. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we see typically the softs will last about half the time that the mediums will. Wid his mediums are a little over halfway gone. Now, with that being said, the second half of the tire tends to go quicker than the first half of the tire.
Yep. You do a lot more sliding, a lot more scrubbing of that rubber.
Well, now if they've got their way around the lap traffic, they seem to be navigating it pretty good. We haven't seen a lot of issues between the Group 1 and the Group 3 cars thus far, which, I mean, this is split one. These are the best of the best as far as the PHG World Series goes.
Truth serum off track.
Ooh, what position? P4, it looks
P4.
like.
Yep.
Oh, now back to P5. So we go back to P4. To the Truth Serum. P4. P4. Oh, yep, see, he's already spun out. Okay, so it looks like we missed it. Actually, we could probably catch that from another angle here if we want to.
I don't know.
Pull the replay back up.
There, I'm not sure he didn't have some sort of mechanical failure because he didn't recover.
Nope. We were on him, and then we switched again. Where'd he go? There he is. Yep, and he's already spun out.
But see how he's
just...
just...
he's just sitting there.
Yeah, that
so
looks like a mechanical failure to me. I've been victim of that a time or two myself, just by the way he kind of rolled back and everything. That really looks to me like some kind of a equipment failure.
Yeah.
It looks like he is back under power now, heading into the pits. But, yeah, unfortunate for the Truth Serum. He's going to get off of those mediums. 24 minutes left to go. A little less than a quarter tank of fuel. We'll see what they... we're on Sheldologist now, who... I think a lot of these medium runners, I mean, if they can make their way down to the 20-minute mark, they should be really safe to run the softs the rest of the way. Anybody who hits a little earlier is going to get more laps on the soft tire, but they're going to be warned. Sheldologist heading into the pits now with 24 minutes left to go.
C-Dubs, we are doing great. I hope your recliner nap was good. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast, and I hope all of you are enjoying the broadcast. Make sure you smash that like button.
And Racing and P10, P11 side by side for position.
Oak was Racing just staying slight ahead of him.
Yeah. Oak was up beside him, but Mr. Racing was able to hold him off. But Oak is definitely pushing him.
And if you remember, these two were teammates in IRO last year. So these guys very well aware of how they race together. Oak all over the back of them. Again, going side by side, heading into the bottom of the turkey leg. Mr. Racing later on the brakes, able to keep that lead. Let's see how they get the exit through the turkey leg. Oh, Oak all the way up alongside. Big bobble by Mr. Racing coming out of it, which gives Oak the lead. but now Mr. Racing has the slipstream. We'll see if that allows him to get caught up by the time they get to the chicane. He is starting to close that gap ever so slightly. We'll see who is the late breaker here as Florinota goes by, and the Group 1 car does not allow him to get and look to the inside. Oak getting really loose coming out of the chicane, but Oak going to dive into the pits. So he... All right, let's see if we can catch that overtake again. We go watch him at the bottom of the turkey leg again. Oak right behind, going for the better exit here, taking the ideal racing line. Saw Mr. Racing get really sideways going through there, which allowed Oak to have the drive off at the corner and gets that pass done. Well done, Oak. And who did we see off?
Mix Covington, and P1 was off track. Florinota is passing him now. Sector 7 Witt did come into the pits. Took his mediums off, put on some softs, took about a quarter tank of fuel. And he's
a little bit of a bump there.
Right behind Covington and Florinota now.
Okay. Miss Covington probably isn't going to be out much longer. Only has about an eighth of a tank of fuel left.
Right.
Serves that penalty. Going to let Wid catch up quite a bit. Probably isn't going to get him by the time they get to the chicane, but is going to be right on him by the time they exit. Sure enough, less than half a second behind. It's Covington not going into the pits quite yet. Jorge into the pits for a second time. About 21 minutes left to go.
Yeah, this will definitely be his last. He should come out on the mediums, probably half tank of fuel.
All right, so Florinota, our pole sitter, back up in the lead. 1.3 second gap to Miss Covington. A bigger gap to Wid. You know, Wid had been hanging with Florinota for the first half of this race. Now has a bit of a gap to make up. But yeah, Miss Covington probably going to be coming in here very shortly. And correct me if I'm wrong, is going to need to run the mediums. Or no, or is going to be coming in for another set of softs. He started on the mediums, didn't he?
Yeah, all the GT1s started on mediums.
Yeah.
Jorge did come out on mediums. He's just over half tank of fuel. Hovercraft right behind him came out on the softs with just under half a tank of fuel. So let's see if Hovercraft can run down Jorge.
Yeah, now that he has the tire advantage, that's the time to try to make up some time. Miss Covington going around at least one more time. It looks like the fuel is now in the red. 1.2 second gap to the leader, dealing with lap traffic there. Wid, 2.8 seconds to the leader. Once Mitz comes in. So 20 minutes to go. Half a tank of fuel, some fresh racing softs. Wid is probably good to go to the end. Yeah. Is Florida? I forgot to check. Is Florinota in the same situation with good tires and good fuel?
He came in a couple laps earlier, but he is on softs, just over half a tank of fuel.
All right, so his softs are going to wear just a little bit earlier than Wid's.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Wid's got 20 minutes to try to catch up. Maybe get a pass done in the last couple of laps. We'll see how this unfolds. But they are currently running 1-2, the same order they started in.
Mix going up for another lap.
I guess they're not. I was trying to predict that Miss was going to come in, and Miss proved me wrong, staying out another lap. That fuel tank has got to be on fumes at this point.
Right.
You know, I've been impressed with Florinota. Florinota's really been catching the traffic all at the right time. I don't know if he's been planning that.
And Wid is not.
Yeah, and Wid is not. Wid's really had some bad luck as far as when catching the lap traffic. I don't know if that's bad luck or really good planning on Florinota's part.
Good question.
But Wid right up in the slipstream. Miss Covington kind of helping pull Wid along, helping him catch up to Florinota at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely something both the Group 1 or the GT1 and the GT3 drivers can do. Both can utilize the slipstream for even though each group is definitely different in their ability to put the power to the track, but you can definitely for a few split seconds use that slipstream.
And Mitt's staying out for yet another lap. I mean, look at that fuel gauge. It is all the way to the bottom.
Oof.
And now they've got hot cornbread in the S's.
Yeah.
Slowing down both Mitts and Wid. They get around now on the straight. Sector 7 Wid trying to go around the outside, heading into the turkey leg, not able to get it done. Mitts Covington able to hold him off. Come out of the turkey leg onto the long stretch. A 7R Wid going to definitely have the slipstream overspeed here by the time they get to the end. He's closing in on him. He may know that Mitts needs to pit, but goes for the pass, heading into the chicane. Oh, a little bit of contact.
Oh,
Mitts getting really loose, trying to come get around that final corner. Mitts finally he's
oh
not
yeah.
going to go into the pits.
Yeah,
I think for another lap.
I think
How is he doing this?
I think he meant to go into the pits there, but he was afraid he was going to cut the line, and he brought it back to the track.
We've got the replay here. Here they are going into the turkey leg. Let's see if... Oh, there's the bump. Heading in, and then as they head on out... Yeah, at this point, they need to get all the way down to the end of the long straightaway before we get to the chicane. The Wid was standing right tucked up underneath them. Let's see if we've got this replay all the way to the end or not. Because here they are, heading into the chicane. And just a little bit of a bump on corner entry there. Just enough to get them loose. And yeah, Mitt's trying to... Yep, definitely cut over the line. You called it, Chuck. Going around one more time. I hope he is out of fuel.
Yep.
He's out of fuel on the backstretch.
Oh, no.
So this is going to cost him a lot more time than that 3-second pen would have.
Pete Pabst just about rear-ended him there.
Well, that is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
The only thing you can really do is keep it off the racing line so you don't ruin anybody else's race and limp it around as you... Oh, my goodness. What reaction time. My Lord. Just keep it off the racing line and try not to ruin anybody else's race and get you back to the pits so you can pop off.
Jorge still holding a 2.3 second lead over Hovercraft in the Group 3 class.
We're just getting to 15 minutes left here, so we've got a quarter of the race left to go. With only a 2-second gap, there's a possibility you can catch him.
There is. He's got the better tire, but he's trying to catch, the two-time PHG World Series champ.
Yeah, I mean, the raw speed that Jorge can put down, even with the lesser tire, is impressive. Yeah. But we will see. Hovercraft is certainly no slouch. So,
absolutely.
I mean, it looks like that gap he's maintaining the gap. So Jorge doing a good job of holding him off. We watch the Group 1 cars deal with lap traffic here.
Mitts Covington is back out on track with a set of fresh softs. And fuel.
Back in P7, probably a ways off. P6, unfortunately. 52 seconds behind P6. So, unfortunate. I don't mean to laugh. That is a heartbreaker. Just a bad set of circumstances. We've seen that in the other races. We see B-Paps got caught out without fuel, which I think was a refueling mistake, if I recall. But certainly makes it for a lot of anxiety trying to get back to the pits when you've got both. Hovercraft continuing to try to run down Jorge with the superior tire. and just a little bit less fuel as well, so a little bit lighter. But that gap has stayed right around that 2.1, 2.2 seconds, so he's not really closing the gap much. 13 minutes left to go in this race. The other thing to think about is that Hovercraft's tires will start dying by the end of this. Jorge's on the mediums will still be plenty fresh as we get to the end of this 60 minute.
60 hour. That would be a dreaming record, I think.
You gotta push. You gotta push while the tires are good.
Right. And he's got it under 2 seconds now, so he has made up a little bit of time as they go through the turkey leg here. See if they can. He maintains that. Looks like he does. He is closing the gap slightly.
And the question has to be asked, considering what happened to Mr. Covington, aka Tuzzum, he ducked out of going into the pits. Do you go ahead and still go into the pits and serve that 3-second penalty, or do you, like he did, run out of gas on the backstretch and just kind of do what you can to get back to the pits?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've got the luxury of being able to think about it for longer than a split second, but clearly running out of fuel would cost him far more than what the 3 seconds would have been having just ducked into the pits.
Yeah.
If he could have changed the fuel map to 6 and get further around before running out of fuel, or maybe even make it all the way back, but just running on a lower fuel map, that would have been worth it, but clearly it just didn't work out like that. Again, that's one of those split-second decisions you gotta try to make on the fly, and he just got bumped, leading into that, so was probably a little flustered from that as well. It's hard to compartmentalize all that and still make the right decision.
Oh yeah, we've all been there, and Johnny Boy said the same thing, that he'll take the 3-second penalty, but like I said, that like you said, Sal, that split-second decision you've got to make. Sometimes it's not the right decision based on the circumstances surrounding the incident.
We got a good battle shaping up between P12 and P13 with Drobo and Nuke.
Drobo on the racing softs, about halfway worn. Nuke also on the softs, but tires in much better condition. So Nuke may have the grip advantage here. Try to get around, especially heading into the chicane. Talon in the Group 1 car go around.
Yeah, Talon holding 4-second lead over Sheldala just for that podium finish. 15 seconds behind Witt, though. I don't think he'll be able to catch him. So right now, if I'm Talon, I'm just racing to hold that podium. Stay ahead of Shell, which we know is no easy task.
Yeah, 4.2 seconds with less than 10 minutes to go is a healthy gap, but it is not a fail-safe by any means.
Right.
He still has to not make any mistakes.
Right. I was going to say, one slip in that 4-second turns into 2.
Gaps at the leader here. Looks like we've got a 1.9 seconds from Florinota to Wid. Again, Wid having slightly better tires, but not closing it down very quickly. I mean, now that we're into the final 10 minutes, this is going to be full try-hard mode for all these drivers. They've been at it for 50 minutes. They've certainly established their flow for the race. They're all comfortable with what their cars can do. So now is the point in time where everybody's probably going to be the fastest. And I just noticed that Wid has taken the fastest lap with a 106.652. So, Florinota being a little impatient with Hovercraft there, which has allowed Wid to really close that gap. He was a 1.8 second lead. It is now only a quarter of a second as they head to the bottom of the turkey leg. Florinota got Jorge right ahead of him. Our 2 lead cars for Group 1 and Group 3. Florinota was able to get a better exit out of the bottom of the turkey leg and had put a little bit of a gap on Wid, but Wid in that slipstream is closing it back down ever so slightly. they go into the chicane. It's like Florinota had a much better exit and run through that chicane than Wid did. It gained 0.2, but then on exit, Wid comes back and has gotten it back under a half a second. They are yo-yoing this gap here. With less than 8 minutes to go, the battle for the lead is on.
Yeah. It looks like Florinota, he's really pushing, going deep into his braking zone. And I think Wid's probably doing the exact opposite, the slow in, fast out technique. Because you can, like you said, you can definitely see that delta yo-yoing with every turn.
Yeah, in certain parts of the track, you know, as you go through turn 1 and through the S's, being fast in is going to be helpful. But now that we're on the second half of the track, as you go through the turkey leg, being fast on exit is far more important than being fast on entry.
Yeah.
With that said, Florinota has extended the gap from a half second to closer to 0.8 seconds. Dive down into the chicane here. Again, Florinota went nice and deep and extended it a little bit, but now Wid coming back on the exit. Less than 7 minutes to go.
And it looks like Jorge in Group 3 is starting to extend his lead a little more. I think Hovercraft's Racing Soft tires are starting to give up on him a little bit. He's over the halfway mark on those left side tires.
Yeah, about halfway down. Really low on fuel. And yeah, 2.6 seconds. Still has a 12-second lead over Oak in P10. So it's pretty healthy podium position here to hold on to.
And then right behind him,
we go check in with Oak in P10. Oak was in a battle with Mr. Racing there for a while, but now has a 2.6 second gap over Mr. Racing. So Oak hoping to hold on to the last of the podium positions for Group 3.
We'll see if his tires hold out for 5 more laps.
Yep, less than 6 minutes to go. Looks like he's only got about 20% of that front left tire left. Yeah, it might be rough as we get to the end of this race. It's probably rough now. I mean,
Right.
Mr. Racing has a lot more tire, about half the tire left on that front left.
It looks like
If we check back in with our leader,
B Paps in P5 is closing down on Sheldologist for P4.
yeah, but right now the battle is really for the lead.
Yep.
Wid has it under a half second. And we've seen coming out of the turkey leg here is where Wid seems to get a little bit of a better run off. See if he can do that. Being so close. Nope, doesn't get it this time. He needs a good run out so he can use that slipstream to slingshot his way around. Not going to get it this lap. But with 5 minutes to go, has probably 5 more opportunities to get this done.
Nuke did get by Drobo.
Yeah, Nuke.
For P12.
Okay. Yep, and the leaders are coming up on these guys as well. Nuke has extended that lead over Drobo. So after getting that pass out, they were side by side back at the Group 1s, right next to Florinota, but they get through as they get into the S's, but now they've got Nuke holding them both up. Are either of them going to push the issue and try to make the pass? No, they're both patient. Come out of this corner, onto the short straightaway, still nose to tail. That really bunched them up. This could be the opportunity for Wid if he can stay tucked up behind him and get a good exit out of this corner here, which he does. He's closing the gap. Oh yeah, Florinota's tires are down. Wid with better tire heading into the heavy braking zone of the chicane. Less than 0.2. Let's see if he can make this pass done.
He really just
this last couple of laps are going to be real interesting here.
Yeah. Doesn't quite go for it yet.
There it
Still
is.
being patient.
Oh,
better exit. There it is. Gets the pass done.
Nicely.
That was a good setup.
Yeah.
And he made him think that he was going for the pass in the chicane, and then he just backed out of it.
Yep.
Got the better exit out of the chicane, which is an easier pass to do than in the braking zone. Well done, Wid.
Yes.
See if we can capture a replay of this. Watch as Wid comes in again, gives him the gap. Florinota goes deep on the entrance of the chicane, which compromises his exit. Wid going through it nice and smooth. Gets the pass done going through those final corners. Having a lot, managing his tires to this point of the race was probably all the difference in that pass there. He had the grip and was able to hold on to it. Florinota just wasn't quite able to get the car slowed down. He's trying everything he could to stay in the lead, but it compromised the exit coming out of the chicane. All right, Talon still holding on to that podium position in P3. Sheldala just trying to run him down, but with only 2 minutes left to go, has a 3.3 second gap to make up. And Shell's tires are have seen better days as well. Down to about a quarter of that front left to go. Ooh, some contact with Drobo. Drobo into the wall after the contact with the Group 1 car of Sheldologist. Let's watch this as Sheldo, as he's coming by, he's going to take the outside, waits for Drobo to cut in. Does, but Drobo, it just sort of like floats out. Sheldo was able to keep it pointed in the right direction, but Drobo, his car got loose. He didn't spin it all the way around, but into the
Could that be a tire wear issue probably from Drobo? What do you guys think?
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, that final corner in a Group 3 car, if you keep it pinned, you need the whole track to make that work. With worn tires and a car to your outside, yeah, I mean, that little bit of contact may have been just enough to kind of send the car around. Only a minute to go. He's only going to have to go one more lap around, thankfully, because those tires are dead zone. Jorge, though, well out in front, 4.3 second lead over Hovercraft. Again, with only like one more lap to go. It's like Jorge, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, Jorge is human.
I don't know if he's going to make one more lap with that fuel.
This fuel is very low. But we did see Miss Covington run like 2 more laps with the fuel blinking. And it was that 3rd lap that finally did him in. There we go, Hovercraft going down the backstretch. His teammate, S7R Wid, currently in the lead in the Group 1 class, gets around. Heading to the start-finish line with 7 seconds left, looking like we're going to have one more victory lap here for Wid. He's going to cross the line. Florinota going to come across after time has expired. Florinota going to take the checkered flag for P2.
Oh, Hovercraft. He made it because he just crossed the line right as time expired. Oak will be just fine too because he was pretty low. With
Talon coming across the line in P3. Sheldologist comes across the line in P4. 19-second lead over B-Paps, who's still on the backstretch. As the Truth Serum only a half second behind. Looks like may not quite have enough time to get that pass done. B-Paps going to come across in P5. The Truth Serum, P6. And Miss Covington right behind in P7 as well. Didn't realize they were right there. But it looks like Jorge and Wid are winners in the Group 1 and Group 3 class. Both timed it perfectly that they get a parade lap.
Right.
Nice and easy. Go around the track. Well done. S7R's Wid, PHG's Jorge Sr.
Yes.
On their win in their respective classes here at Road Atlanta.
And according to Fernando, regarding the incident with Drobo, he says he ran right into the zone and hit a high pressure bubble. Let us know in basic speak what you mean by that, in normie speak, please.
Sounds like he's talking about the weather.
All right.
But there we go, our finishing results. Papa, you want to take us through it?
Absolutely. We have Sector 7's Wid in his Audi with also the best lap. with a 106.652 for best lap for the race. But he comes in P1. Congratulations. Right behind him, we have Florinota. P3 is Talon, finishing out the podiums. Nice job, you guys. P4, Mr. PHG Sheldologist. P5 is Mr. P. Pabst. P6 is Sector 7's The Truth Serum. And rounding out the Group 1 GT1 class, we have Mix Covington coming in P7. Then the winner of the Group 3 cars, we have Jorge Sr. with Sector 7's Hovercraft right behind him. Sector 7 Mr. Racing in P3. K Naranjo or Oak in P4. Sector 7 Nuke in P5. Drobo in P6. And rounding out that for the Group 3 field, we have VIP Cornbread